French Economy Minister Bruno Le Maire, right, talks with President of the European Central Bank Christine Lagarde as they pose for a photo during a European finance ministers meeting, Friday, February 25, 2022, in Paris. European Union leaders put on a united front after a 6-hour meeting that went into early Friday morning, during which they agreed on a second package of economic and financial sanctions against Russia. François Maury / the Associated Press: The West is under mounting pressure to take stronger measures against Russia over the invasion of Ukraine, after the world's wealthy democracies failed to kick Moscow out of the SWIFT system of international payments and omitted other tough actions from sanctions packages announced this week. The Ukrainian government, along with legislators in the United States and Europe, called on leaders to make good on pre-invasion promises of unprecedented economic pain for Russian President Vladimir Putin if he attacked Ukraine. The US, the European Union, the United Kingdom, Canada and several other countries on Thursday announced sanctions on Russian banks, oligarchs and technology exports. Russia-Ukraine live updates: Zelensky says he's number one target as troops push into Kiev. Why is Russia invading Ukraine? What Putin's troops have done so far in Kiev, Donbas and beyond, but the measures did not personally sanction Mr. Putin, block Russian exports of oil and natural gas or prohibit Western companies from doing business with Russia. They also allowed Russia to remain part of SWIFT, which banks depend on for performing cross-border transactions and Moscow uses to collect the fossil fuel royalty payments that fund its government. The EU, led by Germany, was most opposed to going further. Both US President Joe Biden and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said they couldn't ban Russia from SWIFT because European countries wouldn't agree to it. The EU trades significantly with Moscow, including importing Russian oil and gas. Early Friday, Ukraine's government, besieged by Russian forces attacking Kiev, called on Europe to do more. We appreciate sanctions imposed by a number of countries of the world, especially the strongest sanctions already imposed by the US and the UK, which will severely undermine Russia's economic and financial capacities to continue its aggression, the government said in a statement distributed through diplomatic channels. We expect the EU to join the comprehensive bank sanctions and to include SWIFT into the package. Donald Tusk, the leader of the largest conservative party in the European Parliament and a former president of the European Council, laced into the countries that had watered down the sanctions package. In this war everything is real: Putin's madness and cruelty, Ukrainian victims, bombs falling on Kiev. Only your sanctions are pretended, he wrote on Twitter. Those EU governments which blocked tough decisions, e.a. Germany, Hungary, Italy, have disgraced themselves. NATO leaders will hold an emergency summit Friday, which could provide another opportunity to discuss sanctions. Canadian officials this week have avoided saying whether Ottawa favors excluding Russia from SWIFT. In the US, both Mr. Biden's allies and opposition put pressure on him to do more. Democratic Senator Bob Menendez, chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, said in a statement that there is more that we can and should do to impose maximum costs on Mr. Putin. He said the US and its allies should kick Russia out of SWIFT, sanction the Russian central bank, pursue assets held by Mr. Putin and his circle, and impose sanctions on Russian industry. Lindsey Graham, a Republican senator on the committee, said the US should move forward with stronger measures itself rather than deferring to Europe. We should not be seeking permission from allies to go after Putin and his cronies. We should move ahead forcefully against Putin, a war criminal, and demand our allies join us, he tweeted. The sanctions Thursday cut major Russian banks out of American and British financial markets, and froze assets of VTB, Russia's second-largest bank. They also barred exports of high-tech products such as semiconductors to Russia. but they did not touch major Western investments in Russia. BP and France's Total, for instance, both have oil interests in Russia, while Western investors such as the California Teachers Pension Fund hold shares in Russian state enterprises including gas company Gazprom. On top of European reluctance to go further, Mr. Biden also cited an unwillingness to impose sanctions that might cause economic pain in the U.S. The president said the sanctions were designed to minimize the impact on the United States and our allies. He specifically cited fears over higher gas prices at a time when the U.S. is already grappling with high inflation. "I know this is hard and that Americans are already hurting. I will do everything in my power to limit the pain the American people are feeling at the gas pump," Mr. Biden told reporters at the White House. He insisted that the banking sanctions were of equal consequence to excluding Russia from SWIFT, but said such a move was still on the table. "It is always an option, but right now, that's not the position that the rest of Europe wishes to take," he said. SWIFT, based in Belgium, is used for international money transfers including paying for traded goods. Without it, Russian banks would incur significant costs in time and money doing these transactions directly or using a smaller, alternative system, such as one set up by China. It could be particularly difficult for the government treasury, which depends heavily on oil and gas revenues and processes many of those payments through SWIFT. A Ukrainian soldier sits injured in crossfire inside the city of Kiev, Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Emilio Mornati / The Associated Press. One of 29 Ukrainian soldiers take position under a bridge while under fire inside the city of Kiev, Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Emilio Mornati / The Associated Press. 2 of 29 medics transport a person wearing a military uniform into an ambulance near a damaged unidentified military truck near a residential area in Kiev, Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Olga Yakimovich / Reuters. 3 of 29 vehicles wait in line at a security checkpoint on February 25, 2022 in Kiev, Ukraine. Anastasia Vlasova / Getty Images. 4 of 29 A Ukrainian serviceman checks a vehicle at a security checkpoint on February 25, 2022 in Kiev, Ukraine. Anastasia Vlasova / Getty Images. 5 of 29 A woman with 2 children leave Ukraine after crossing the Slovak-Ukrainian border in Ubla, eastern Slovakia, close to the Ukrainian city of Weliki Berezne on February 25, 2022. Peter Lazar / AFP / Getty Images. 6 of 29 Russian army military vehicles are seen in Armyansk, Crimea, on February 25, 2022. Stringer / AFP / Getty Images. 7 of 29 Ukrainian servicemen on guard on a road in Kharkiv, Ukraine talk with a civilian on February 25, 2022. Maxim 11 / Reuters. 8 of 29 A destroyed Russian army military vehicle with multiple rocket launchers with the letters I painted on their sides in Kharkiv, Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Maxim 11 / Reuters. 9 of 29 A Ukrainian army soldier inspects fragments of a downed aircraft in Kiev, Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Vadim Zamirovsky / The Associated Press. 10 of 29 firefighters work at a damaged residential building on Koshytsa Street, a suburb of the Ukrainian capital Kiev, where a military shell hit, on February 25, 2022. Genia Savilov / AFP / Getty Images. 11 of 29 Natalie Sevraukova reacts next to her home following a rocket attack the city of Kiev on February 25, 2022. Emilio Mornati / The Associated Press. 12 of 29 A man looks out of the window of a damaged apartment in a residential block hit by an early morning missile strike on February 25, 2022 in Kiev, Ukraine. Chris McGrath / Getty Images. 13 of 29 A man clears debris at a damaged residential building on Koshytsa Street in the Ukrainian capital Kiev on February 25, 2022. Daniel Leal / AFP / Getty Images. 14 of 29 A child on a swing outside a residential building damaged by a missile on February 25, 2022 in Kiev, Ukraine. Pierre Crom / Getty Images. 15 of 29 A woman walks around the wreckage of an unidentified aircraft that crashed into a house in a residential area in Kiev, Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Amit Bektas/Reuters 16 of 29 people run to take shelter while sirens sound announcing new attacks. In the city of Kiev on February 25, 2022. Emilio Mornati/The Associated Press 17 of 29 hundreds of residents from a residential building damaged by a missile gather in a bomb shelter in the basement of a school on February 25, 2022 in Kiev, Ukraine. Gearcom/Getty Images 18 of 29 people take pictures of the remains of a rocket in a residential area in the Ukrainian capital of Kiev on February 25, 2022. Genya Savilov/AFP/Getty Images 19 of 29 The wreckage of a vehicle lies on road in the Ukrainian capital of Kiev on February 25, 2022. Sergei Syapinski/AFP/Getty Images 20 of 29 Ukrainian servicemen walk around fragments of a downed aircraft in Kiev, Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Alexander Ratushniak/The Associated Press 21 of 29 servicemen of the Ukrainian National Guard take positions in central Kiev, Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Gleb Garanik/Reuters 22 of 29 people leave Kiev after Russia continues massive military operating against Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Gleb Garanik/Reuters 23 of 29 people rest on the floor of a metro station, which is being used as an air raid shelter, in Kiev, Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Iraqi Jihadist/Reuters 24 of 29 people queue to donate blood for the army at the Blood Service Center in the western Ukrainian city of Lviv on February 25, 2022. Yuri Dyakishin/AFP/Getty Images 25 of 29 people donate blood for the army at the Blood Service Center in the western Ukrainian city of Lviv on February 25, 2022. Yuri Dyakishin/AFP/Getty Images 26 of 29 Ukrainian families fleeing the conflict in their country are seen walking along a road near the Hungarian-Ukrainian border crossing near Beregshorny, Hungary on February 25, 2022. Attila Kizbenedek/AFP/Getty Images 27 of 29 people sit in a bus heading to the border crossing between Poland and Ukraine on February 25, 2022. Kasper Pempel/Reuters 28 of 29 people from Ukraine who have fled the violence and crossed the border into Poland are offered coffee in Medyka on February 25, 2022. Brian Woolston/Reuters 29 of 29 Our morning update and evening update newsletters are written by Globe editors, giving you a concise summary of the day's most important headlines. Sign up today. Adblock test. Why?